Welcome to Not Just a Dentist, the podcast where we look beyond the surface of dentistry and into the connection between oral health, whole body health, confidence, and longevity. I'm Rob Raimondi, prosthodontist and co-founder of One Manhattan Dental in New York City.
And I'm Dr. Marc Sclafani, also a prosthodontist and the other co-founder of One Manhattan Dental. In each episode, we'll bring more than 5 decades of combined experience to help you understand how great dentistry can support your health, longevity, and quality of life.
From full mouth reconstruction and cosmetic dentistry to prevention, technology, and oral systemic health, our goal is simple: to show why dentistry is never just about teeth.
Because this is Not Just a Dentist.
Hello, Mark. Different setting today.
Rob, good morning. We're here bright and early before our day at work. We're sitting in our newly redesigned construction for our new office, which we are, 2 months into construction already, would you say, Rob?
It started in May. We're like 3-4. We have a pretty great construction company. So where are we? We're here at our new office. We're in the process of building a new office. Why? Because our current office, the building in which we inhabit in, has been bought over in New York City. This happens. And the new developer, the new owner, is a developer who's going to be converting our entire building from a rental, mixed right now, professional doctors' offices and residential into condos, right? I think there's some shows that you watch, like Selling New York or something, or those Seahurt shows about like those apartments that you see, those crazy apartments that are like $100 million. Well, that's going to be where our office is. Great, but not so great. But whatever, we have to move our office, and we're moving a few blocks away in 57th and Madison. And so we're here together to talk about our journey. So maybe you're a patient, maybe you're another dentist, someone who's thinking about building their dream office, or someone who's going to be experiencing an office as a patient, which we all do. Just the thoughts that we've had going into coming out of the process. And I guess, so Mark, talk about maybe what led up to this point, so where we started the past 5-6 years.
Let's start where we started. So what you just said is that we're kind of getting kicked out of our office. You know, we signed the lease 2 years ago, found that we have a demolition clause in our lease, so they're throwing us out of the office. And a lot of patients don't realize that, and they ask, why are you moving? Your office is beautiful. You just renovated 2 years ago, which we did. But what we did is we renovated an existing space. So we could change the floors, the wallpaper, the dental chairs, but we were still stuck with the bones of the existing space and the limitations of the existing space. You know, I've been practicing for 30 years, and I've never built my own office. You know, I've renovated offices, moved into offices with other dentists. So this is our first opportunity to build an office together. From scratch.
Right. This was a raw space.
I was at 800A, our old office, since 2010. Rob moved in with me in 2019, and we redesigned the whole office together, but we didn't take down walls. We were stuck around what we had. It was like a cosmetic facelift.
Yeah, we had some technology and such, but it was mostly cosmetic.
So how this vision started, we said we started construction 2 months ago, but this has been taking place since probably last December when we first knew we had the space. Rob went to the Welcome Conference, and let's start with there. That's where we picked our design team.
I think you'll go back even further. So in August, the building sold, and the day it closed, right, it closed in the morning, and around noon, we received an email from the building being notified that a termination clause had been activated. What does that mean, in case you don't know? In our lease, we had a termination clause, which means that they can give you 6 months notice to say you have to leave. And so on that day in August, I remember where I was when I got that email. I was with Jason Sauer down to LBI on the way out of the office. And we got that termination clause activated. And so that process started. So the process started before we even met people. We started talking with our lawyers about what to do, how to handle it. And it was a lengthy process. Luckily, one of our patients represented us, they trust us, so we were able to trust them easily enough. And so that process started to figure out what the hell we're going to do and how we're going to do it, because it takes more than 6 months to find a dental space and to build a dental space and then move an office. And so from there, we started 2 processes, negotiating with our current...
First to find a space, right?
And then we started looking for spaces. We had to interview. How many different real estate agents did we interview?
Find a right real estate agent, find a big enough space. And that was a long process. Then after that, it was to find the team, which neither of us really knew. We need a decorator, we need an engineer, we need a contractor. So we started that process.
So think about it, right? So you show up on your work life, and before August, our schedule is pretty filled. My life is filled. We filled our life, and now you have to layer that on top of it. So it's a bit of a process of pulling back from things and probably saying no to some other things that we're going to have to negotiate the exit terms of our current space, and then to negotiate and look for the new space and the lease. So there's 2 negotiations happening with our lawyers. And once you find this space at the same time, like Mark said, we're interviewing designers and talking to dental companies and manufacturers and distributors to figure out who we're going to work with, talking to IT companies. Is the current people we work with the right people, or we should have new relationships for this build? Because we have 17 treatment room office right now. We're building a 17 treatment room office, and we're expanding our footprint to about 8,000 square feet.
So it's a big space. Picture building an 8,000 square foot home. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. It's in a big team that goes into it to design this office. So what I was saying earlier, the first thing we did was to find a design team. And we wanted to think outside the box, not someone who just does dental offices because they all look the same. We wanted that warm touch of the office, and we'll get into details about that. So we picked a design team. INC is who we're working with. They're down in Tribeca. And they knew from the start what we wanted. We wanted to build an office that was more based on hospitality to look less clinically. Like if you look at our office now, you and I wanted to build that office. We designed our existing office, and we made everything white and crisp and clinical. But it looks a little sterile. It doesn't look warm. It doesn't look friendly to the patient.
Luckily, we have the right glossy texture, so it's more lifelike because it's like more of like a white mirror that reflects the room. So it's
nice. Our offices are nice, but
luckily.
it's not warm and it's not inviting.
Yes, I think like what a lot of people think about when they design a space, like if you're designing your home, you're thinking about all the finishes. That's not where we started, right? I think what's most important, our vision. And it took us longer than it should have to design the physical space. We spent so much time on one thing.
Just for the layout.
That's the flow.
Yeah, the flow
of the humans
is everything.
We spent, how much time did we spend on that?
A month, probably.
More. I feel like we spent, Mark, I feel like we spent several months
on that. And that design, that layout, it involved the design team, but at that point we had to involve Henry Schein because we need the dental experts.
They sell dental equipment and dental supplies and the chairs and the cotton rolls.
It was a combination of Schein not designing the office, but stepping in when needed to know where the dental equipment needed to be, and that had to be coordinated with the interior designers together.
So we're having this conversation with these different parties, right? Once we sign the lease, once we start designing the space, there is a design team, which is a hospitality, more commercial-based group. They don't do so much residential. They're doing commercial hospitality spaces like hotels and restaurants and offices. And so they're designing the space, and we're using Artie Martin, who built more offices in New York City than anybody else.
We pulled Artie out of retirement to come help us out here.
Artie worked with Henry Schein, but now he's independent working with another company, and he is the person who knows everything about a dental office. He doesn't know about the colors and the hospitality end of it, but he knows where things need to be. So we have the hospitality end balanced by the dental guy, and then also working with eventually a GC, an architect, and an IT company, and a GC. Did I leave anyone out?
And if you look at the GC, we interviewed probably 4 GCs before we picked a proper GC. And we went with the GC that had the most experience building dental offices.
We were tempted to use someone else.
Plenty of GCs that wanted the job but have never done a dental office. And if you know anything about a dental office, we're building 17 treatment rooms. So the plumbing is consistent to 17 bathrooms.
It's more than 17 bathrooms, right?
Well, there's waste lines, there's cold water, there's hot water lines. There's gas lines to each room. We have nitrous and oxygen pumped into every room. No more of those portable tanks being wheeled around the office, clanging together. You could probably see behind me some of the roughing, the air, the water, the electric going into each room.
There's suction and compressed air also.
And then the wiring for the TVs and the computers. So there's a lot of coordinations. And if everybody's not on the same page, it's going to affect the end result.
And so all that in New York City or in any office happens on the floor below us.
So we were lucky that there was no tenant at the time on the floor below us.
It's a big deal.
Because the core drilling goes through the floor to the floor below us for the drainage lines, for the waste lines, for the plumbing, and so forth.
Right. One of the most incredible elements of your dental chair sitting somewhere near the middle of a room. And then all those things that Mark described are running below that chair in the floor below it. So that means the ceiling of the floor below that. So if you're a young dentist and you want to build a space, as you're negotiating spaces, you have to ask whether you're in suburbs or in the city, you have to ask how they're going to plumb everything and what's below it. So if there was a law office below us, they would have to come in nights and weekends and mornings with a drop ceiling to move the ceiling to plumb it. Think how long that would take, opposed to in this building, there was a law firm on the 9th, 10th, 11th floor We're in the 10th floor right now. The 9th floor was completely empty when we started this process.
We actually were going to be on the 9th floor, and the building gave us the opportunity to move to the 10th floor, knowing that the 9th floor was empty for us to do our plumbing because there were tenants on the 8th floor. And if we took the 9th floor, we would be disturbing the 8th floor and having to do that work at night and taking down their ceilings.
So, it's an interesting thing if you think about. So as you're trying to think about the logistics of your team working in the space and improving your current office, and then you're working to improve your patient flow through the current office, you've got to think about the plumbing and the electric, then the floor below you, and then who wants to put things where. And it's quite of a really interesting balance act. So let me ask you, let's go, I think, to what, again, was the most important part. What did you think about from the standpoint of, for our team, how you wanted them to be able to flow through the space?
It's a combination of the flow of the team and the patients. And I think that's the biggest obstacle in our current office. And we said earlier, we left the bones of the office and we just decorated the office. Our biggest obstacle when you walk into our office now, you open the door and you're in the waiting room. Right away, you're in the waiting room. There's patients sitting there. There's patients standing up. The front desk are on the phones. The front desk are checking out patients. The front desk is checking in patients. So our team is all on top of each other there, and they really can't move the patients smoothly from room to room.
Stay on this point for a second. So think about yourself as a patient. Almost every doctor's office you go to, you walk into the office, and there is a reception team or person there in the waiting room. They have to check you in, check you out, and they're probably answering phones. Now, as businesses scale or your hospital network, they move those phone centers outside of that space, and there's like a major phone center somewhere. But most regular doctor's offices, like even my vet, it's all right there.
It's on top of each other, right? They have a plastic window at the behind there.
Yeah, a booth. So we wanted to change that.
Rob, talk about how you can compare it to checking into the Amman or the Four Seasons Hotel, right? You walk into a hotel and there's a nice concierge desk there. You speak with them. Maybe they offer you a beverage, a glass of water, a club soda, and then they'll escort you to your room, to another waiting area.
Yeah, so we thought about our space for ourselves and how could we be more comfortable than we would be in any other office. And I think it's the analogy that Mark and I kept working off of is like, what are you doing when you welcome someone to your home? And you're not like on the phone opening the door when your guest comes over, right? So when you have a friend or a family member come to your house, you open the door and you look them in the eye. They come in and you receive them, and you might get them a drink first or water. Okay, you have something to drink, of water. And so
but they don't sit down right in your lobby right there. They don't sit down in your foyer of your house, right?
Hopefully not.
Right?
My first few apartments they did, but it was so small. Right, so you wanted to receive this person as an opportunity to send a message to them and to our team of how we're taking care of each other. We're taking care of each other. We're one man dental, like one person at a time. We're taking care of you. Come and be part of our family and our home. And I got to tell you, how much more fun is it to take care of a patient when you create those moments for your team and yourself? I mean, that's really like a beautiful moment, I feel like.
Everybody's more relaxed. There's less anxiety, right, between the staff, between the patients.
Yeah, we're trying to take care of our team to give them an opportunity to be not just be at their best, but also have a good day and be calm, right?
Our vision was to walk into the office, be greeted, and really not feel like you're in a dental office, right? To be greeted. The treatment rooms are far away. You're not going to hear sounds of drills while you're in the waiting room. You're going to walk in and try to limit the amount of interaction between patients.
Frictional interaction.
Patients not being on top of each other. We have one patient entering the door and another patient's trying to pay. And the patient in the waiting room is hearing this other patient maybe praise the work or maybe complain about somebody. So we're trying to eliminate, like you said, that friction, that anxiety. Because people, let's face it, they don't like coming to the dentist. That patient that doesn't want to go to the dentist, this is an environment that you can come to and you can feel welcome. You can feel, I don't know, more like family, I guess, more comforting, less stress.
Definitely. Look, in our business, we don't make this known a lot, and Mark and I are talking about this week, is that we're lucky that Mark and I are the owners of the practice. As new patients, I start to explain to them, listen, optics on our practice, it's owned by two people. There's no corporation. There's no different ownership. Mark and I are lucky that we own a practice. We're partners. And so we have this autonomy and control of what our business is. Now, if you look at the way healthcare has evolved over the past 30 years, one local hospital has become a massive group.
And that trend's happening in dentistry.
And dentistry right now, at least 30%. The numbers are a little bit of a moving target because private equity and DSOs are failing, they're building. Let's say it's 30 to 40% of the practices across North America are owned by a group. And now we have companies that are trying to figure out how to put AI in their business. They're trying to put an AI phone reception on it. How many times I hear that, oh, we're going to give you AI phone at nights and weekends and it'll remove your receptionist. Okay, fine. There is this massive, and it has been happening for decades, AI is another excuse to do it, dehumanization of the process being taken care of. And I think what's important, and we're talking about, like, we're in a physical space with wires hanging out, floor plan and IT guys. The whole goal of this structure that we're building is actually to humanize the process of every individual that will be part of this office. And even we've thought about our delivery people. How can we make it easier to deliver our packages to our office? And we made it less frictional for them. Right over here behind Mark, where I'm looking at, there's a space that right next to the elevator, they can come into the office and there's a package room that's outside of the way of anybody else. There's an employee here that's going to go help them open the door, help put everything in there, and they will not have to like try to search for people. Where do I put it? I got to move things out of the way. I'm in your, you know.
If you look at our office now, our current office, we have 17 treatment rooms, and we're probably a little under 5,000 square feet. Here, Rob said earlier, we're almost 8,000 square feet, and we still have 17 treatment rooms. So what we did is increased, I mean, look at these hallways. Look how wide these hallways are. The bathrooms are wider. The area for the patients has increased. The waiting room size has increased. The lab is much bigger. So it's more about the experience for the staff and for the patients. And everybody's not on top of each other. It's spread out a little bit more, which makes it feel a little bit more concierge, less like a clinic.
What I think patients should think about, and something I'm so excited about, a future podcast that we're recording, and very soon you and I with somebody, is when your doctor shows up at work, someone's going to take care of you. How do you think they feel about the space they're in? Like, we've all gone to offices and that reception person is in such a bad fucking mood.
Well, that takes you back to the point where you just said that corporate America is buying up all these practices and they're controlling what the offices look like. They're not about to dive in and build a new office. They're thinking about the dollar signs and not thinking about the anxiety and the comfort of the patient.
As a patient, and you and I are talking about who do we talk to for this recording? Do we talk to dentists, healthcare professionals, patients, everyone? If you're on either side of this relationship of healthcare, and it's very human, no matter how much technology is involved, there is still the humanality of evaluations, being cared for and giving care. Think about what the physical space allows a human to perform and also allows a human to receive.
I always thought about that early on in my career when I was working for a different dentist and I could potentially take over this office. I always said to myself, do I want to work in this office with this old chair and this old waiting room? And maybe that wasn't important at the time because the care of the patient was the most important, but it always bothered me. I hated working in an office that I wasn't proud of, that I know wasn't comfortable, you know. I felt proud of 800A.
For sure.
Now that we're building this new offices, I see the restrictions of 800A and what we improved upon.
Right.
You know, like you said, somebody new starting out, this is very helpful.
You and I agree probably 95% of things, and then we 100% disagree on 5%.
Yeah.
But so it's good to talk about because it's a pretty funny thing. Like, that little 5% is where we argue and like curse each other out in the morning. Not really, but no, we don't, luckily. So what do you think about the finishes and the textures and like all the stuff we're going to put in it?
Let's talk about the textures and finishes, and I think in a later segment we'll get into more detail when we get closer to that. Start with the colors, the warmth of the colors, and
organic mostly, right?
Beiges, creams, soft, some nice marbles mixed in. Little touches like water stations in the office for a patient to have a beverage or a club soda or coffee that we introduced. Even the treatment rooms, you know, right now they're white and they're clinical in our existing offices.
They're probably a little more sterile than they should be, yeah.
A little more sterile than we should be. You know, the lighting that we picked has to be a certain degree of Kelvin just to give us the nice lighting when we're treating patients. But the treatment rooms, I think, look much warmer and it'll flow with the rest of the design of the office.
Yeah, and in every common space, we've paid a lot of attention to the exact light quality and quantity of the light in every common space. So I guess like the textures and the colors are those that we've picked out to blend in with you, to create an environment that is balanced. I think one of the biggest mistakes I see in new designed offices is people go too far to design the space to showcase their front desk or to showcase their sign. One pet peeve I have is over-designed offices to like postulate at how good you are.
You don't want to really show your individual personality
In my opinion, I
office.
agree with you completely.
Yeah, we walk into. Can we name names? I walked into Atria Healthcare, and that I fell in love with the office.
It's the most beautiful.
I thought I was
space
in a hotel.
in the world.
I did not feel like I was in a medical facility.
Listen,
I didn't see any doctor's personality there. I didn't see that bright veiny marble that reflected maybe somebody who really wanted that.
you can go online and look at the photographs of this space. It is gorgeous.
And a lot of the hotels. We mentioned the Amman. We mentioned the one hotel. Actually, our design team did the one hotel in Brooklyn, right? How about little things in the, right now at 800A, our TVs at 800A, our existing office are mounted kind of above the window, which once the patient's back, the TV is useless. So little tweaks we did is put the TVs up in the ceiling if somebody wanted to listen or watch something on the TV.
Not sticking out of the ceiling, but recessed in so it flows with the ceiling. Yeah, I think that one of the mistakes, it's on the healthcare professionals here or the business owners, is that they can fall in love with their design. Like you said a really great thing, that you can fall in love with your design style and your design. And I think your office should be a reflection of you, no doubt. But I think you should really fall in love with what your patients want and what your ideal patient loves and what they want and the experience. Again, your ideal patient, not the masses, because you can get confused sometimes in some of the patients that we have that probably aren't the right fit for us and we're not the right fit for them. But to find that ideal patient in your heart, in your mind, and design that the flow, the physical space, the colors, and the experience for them.
Well, you said something really good besides being for them, for the patients earlier. You mentioned our team. Our team is going to function and flow much better together in the new office. We have a great team. We get complimented all the time, but there's restrictions. Our front desk, our consultation room, it's all on top of each other right now because the limitations of the current design, which we've eliminated in the new office. So
think about the process. Like the process started out, just to recap where we are, this very technical, legal negotiation and a lot of work. Mark, myself, and our director of operations, Nadine, we're looking at spaces, running around the city, talking to real estate brokers, being called every other day, cold called by real estate brokers. Oh, I know this building and this building. And so you have to find the real estate broker who, at least in New York City, they all kind of have the same spaces for the most part, but a few of them have little connections. You have to find a real estate broker who has connections that can maybe find a space that's not listed, or the building is thinking about listing. Like this space that we were in right now was not publicly listed. Luckily, our real estate, Joseph Yagaroff and Paul Wexler, they were able to help us as much as they could negotiating with our legal team and then designing the physical layout of the space in terms of how everyone's moving. Then we talked about looking at the colors. How about take a step back and engineer? I didn't even think we needed an engineer. I thought we had a decorator and that was it. The engineer, the back and forth, where every lighting has to be, where every outlet has to be. And then we had that all figured out. Now the city has to approve all this. So you can add a few months onto the job if you plan on doing this just for getting things approved. We've learned a lot in this process. And then the clinical aspect, what we've thought about doing after all these things we've talked about is what decisions are they making through the process of an appointment. And so what we've done is every single hygiene room is identical. Every single clinical room is as identical as it can be for the treatment. So what we're trying to do then is now manage our attention and our focus as healthcare professionals when we're taking care of people and navigating through like the business part of talking to patients about money or treatment or sequence or this or that and delivering the care. How can we allow us as clinicians to focus more on the humanality of it? We keep talking about that. And so what we've done is we've organized where all the products are. Where is everything in our office? How is it organized? Where is the materials? Where are the things that we all need to take care of? The sterilization. And we're all trying to use the same products to keep things as simple as possible. We manage the flow, and now from the hygiene rooms, for example, they're identical. The drawers will be the same. Dr. Bronski, Mark Bronski, orthodontist in New York City, has done this. Everything is the same. So when you're opening a drawer and you're a hygienist in a different room or bouncing or whatever, or you're really busy, you're really stressed, you're tired, whatever it is, your muscle memory knows where every single thing is. And if you think about you're a hygienist, you have an opening and you're going to help out your other hygienist to restock a room, I know where everything is. How many times do you want to find a toothbrush in a hygiene room and you have no clue where it is?
Nothing.
I never know where it is.
The gloves are in
I
different
open
places.
17 drawers every
The
time,
floss,
right?
The patient mirror.
I'm going to test. I'm going to talk. We do like a time. Go in Amy's room and find toothbrush. It's going to take you like a minute.
Toothbrushes are here. The flosses are
Oh
over
my
here.
God. The thing that I don't think people think about, but if you have an office now, just like uniform it all.
I think one of the biggest changes we did is, people don't even know we have an in-house lab now because it's kind of hidden in the corner. Where in this new office, I don't know if you could see behind me, you're looking at the big glass windows that are going to show the lab. So it's in the middle of the office, the lab. It's something we're proud of. We have three in-house technicians making most of our dentistry.
We're looking for 2 to 3 more if you're out there.
Yes, we are hiring. So the lab is more of a showcase. We're proud of it. We have a lot of IT in there. We've got a lot of talented ceramists that are making our restorations.
That's our kitchen.
Pretty much.
It's our open kitchen. It's a restaurant. That's our kitchen. That's where the products are made, essentially. What are a couple of mistakes that we made through this process that if you were doing it again, you would hope to not make?
So what have we done so far? I really don't have the answer what we've done wrong yet. I'm seeing things that might be a little different, and I'm not sure. I think we're not going to know completely until we up and running with the flow.
How about with the process?
I question
the process of the office. If you were talking to a young dentist who asked you, or not a young, any dentist who had to build their own space, what advice would you have for them that you would hope they would not make the mistake that you made? I would say delaying would be the one thing I would say.
I don't think we delayed.
I think we did take a little more time, and I think we probably could have.
Well, I tell you, I think we started with the design element prior to maybe finalizing some of the engineering part of it. We got hung up early on colors and textures and marbles, and we still didn't know where the outlets and the light fixtures were going to be and so forth. So we had a lot of tedious meetings discussing materials, which is needed, but I think that was a little bit out of sequence.
Yeah, I think that what you're saying is that we could have done a better job of assembling the team faster and being decisive about who was doing the main elements, which would be the GC, the design team, the dental team.
We took a long time for the GC team, but it took them a long time to give us a bid. 7,000 square feet, they couldn't just walk in and give us an estimate. So it was 3 or 4 contractors back and forth, and they were all very competitive. But one number might have been this and the other one might have been lower, but he left out a few elements. He didn't include the sprinkler system and so forth.
Something we left out was John Malone also. So when you first are looking at spaces, so Mark and I and our team are running around the city looking at spaces. We have an independent office designer. His name is John Malone, great guy. DM us and we'll send you his information. We'll connect you if you have to be in the situation. And what we would do is we had a couple onboarding calls with John Malone. We've worked with him for 10 years.
Kind of to do a rough design, right?
Rough design, fit the puzzle pieces into the space. And we found 2 spaces that one space I really loved, one space we thought we liked, and it just didn't work.
So in other words, there were spaces that were as big as this, but the elevators were situated in certain areas that you really couldn't design the office properly around that. So before we started engineering and designing, we kind of want to make sure what Rob said earlier, the pieces are going to fit. The 17 operatories are going to fit. The bathrooms are going to fit. The lab is going to fit. And then we say, okay, this space is good. Now let's hire the team to design around it.
Before we started negotiating the lease even. So that was the part that we left out. And so I guess the thing you would do if you're in a situation is to talk to other people who have done it around you as much as you can to find out who they used, who they liked, the process, what mistakes they used. Like a few friends of ours built offices recently because they're going through the same thing we are, and they had a couple contractors that were terrible. Like they had a lot of things they didn't finish. They had to move in the office. It wasn't finished. So we got those names together, and we knew not to interview them. We knew not to talk with them. On the other side, we spoke to a few people who we had raving reviews for. We narrowed it down to 3 contractors. 2 we loved. One of those 2 weren't available. He couldn't do it. He didn't have the crew. So we had to find another one just to not put them against each other, but to be able to compare apples to apples in a way. Because the 2 that we loved, we thought we were going to narrow it down to. The one had too many jobs going. Our friend is using him, so we couldn't use him. Pretty much Steve's using him, so we couldn't use him.
And the one we did have the most dental experience. It was most recommended. Precision Builders, they were most recommended by Henry Schein also. They've done a lot of work in dental office.
Is who we're using, and they're great. PBS.
So saying that, you can see it's quiet in here now because we had to shut them down to film this. If you think about it.
They're watching us over there.
We're going to let them get back to work in a minute. But guys, do the math. We're about 100 days from moving in.
Great.
Yeah, so looking at this, I don't know if we're going to get there on time. We're crossing our fingers that permits fall in place.
We're getting there.
We have no choice. We have to be in by
Don't say I don't
Halloween.
know.
We
Change
have
the
to be in by
language.
Halloween. So we can wrap this up so they can get back to work, I think.
I guess reach out to us if you happen to be in the situation. I think the one thing I would want you to do is go further than you think you should on the office. Build it a little bigger than you think you should, and lean into it. Like, lean into what you think your patients love and have fun and feel alive through it. You know, real quick, the last thing I want to talk about is pretty important. Unfortunately, I've had, and you've had it too, I've had probably hundreds of patients and people say to me, you have to build a new office. It's so terrible. And I could tell you from August, when I received that email on that middle of that day, August,
You felt that way also?
I didn't feel that way at all.
You didn't. For the first week. First week.
I
or
didn't
so.
feel that way at all. You may have.
I have.
Okay, so
I thought I was retiring in that office. And you know what, though? It's not a bother anymore. It's exciting now.
that's what I would say. So I luckily don't feel that way about things. Like, it's whatever. Like, when I got that email, I just kind of sat down and felt the beauty of the opportunity that I'm able to build a new office. I get to build a new office. I said that for myself, not like I have to, right? You could say, oh, fuck, I have to build a new office. I never said that to myself. I'm saying if you find yourself as an opportunity, your self-talk is so important. And I say that because I mean it. Like, I get to build this office right now. There'll be a day where I wish I had this problem.
It helps that we didn't have a choice. You know, if we had a choice and the building said, you know, we're going to keep it, we're going to work around it, Rob and I would probably be struggling. Do we stay or do
Depends
we
what
go?
they would give us to stay. The terms.
Yeah.
That's where the business aspect goes. But I think lean into it, have fun with it, and like feel as alive as you can through this process, because you are.
And the last thing, if you're going to, you know, we really made sure we're on top of our lease with a lawyer. There's no demolition clause, and we signed a 15-year lease, which should take us through at least the end of my career. I'm not sure if Rob will still be working after that.
No one knows anything.
Anyway, we're going to do this again and show you some more details in the upcoming month or so. And
Thanks for joining us. And please, we're really, like, this is our life. And as I tell patients, like, I have a job and a hobby. My hobby happens to be this part of dentistry. My job is my clinical aspect, and this is our hobby.
I thought you were going to say you have a home wife and a work wife.
Well, you are my work wife too, which is, I don't know, that's another dynamic. Thank God we have a therapist. Coach together. No. Thanks, Mandy. So I've called her today, actually. But so have fun with it. Lean into it. Let us know questions you have. We're here to help. Like, send us a message. We're here to answer anything, whatever help we can through the process. If you're lucky enough to be able to build an office.
Yeah, you threw that in quickly. Mandy, who's been with us, we met through Tony Robbins years ago. Get yourself a good coach. It helps through the process. It helps you organize your thoughts and realize that you put your mind to it, you can do whatever you want.
That is absolutely imperative. I mean, if you're working out by yourself versus with a personal trainer, and a great personal trainer, I don't mean an okay personal trainer. If you go to the gym with a great personal trainer, you're going to get in better shape than if you do it by yourself. Well, guess what? In terms of the dynamics with a partner and your relationship with yourself in your life, if you have a great coach, incomparable to if you do this journey alone.
Let's do it.
We got it.
You got it.
It's done.